Oh, right. So, notice I'm not opening with a track tonight. I am just talking to you, and that's kind of because I was a little behind schedule, and I've been doing a lot of coaching and teaching and working with people getting their setups together for like online stuff and streaming, and I'm getting a lot of questions, and it's been great. I mean, I'm doing these webinars for Sabian and helping a lot of guys get their rigs together and working with some really amazing, talented drummers, and it's been super fun, but a little bit time consuming. So tonight I prepared a really simple, great little lesson. Basically, there's this material is in my book. However, this is something I just wrote about an hour ago, which is more or less taking the five-stroke roll and applying it to the drum set, but not in a sort of usual manner. This is kind of groove-oriented stuff, fill-oriented stuff, and sorry, I'm tuning as we go. But I think it'll be super fun, and I think we're gonna have a good time tonight. I'm streaming a half hour earlier than usual, so I'm hoping that people caught on to that. I am going to be doing some streams very soon on Facebook. So I've been just testing, making sure that everything runs right over there. It's a little bit more finicky than YouTube. I feel like YouTube has been really great with the streaming. But I will do some Facebook streams as well, and I have a lot of ideas for streams coming up. Besides, of course, we're going to be doing our hand technique workshop here this week on Thursday at 7 p.m., I believe. And this PDF, by the way, for tonight's lesson will be available or is available in the description. You can download it right now. I will be putting up some of the material for Thursday night's stream. Not the whole booklet at this point because it's still a work in progress. I keep saying that. I know. But the reason I decided not to do the tune tonight and just jump right in is also just in the interest of time. I kind of feel like at the end I don't get to the chat and I don't get to doing any questions or anything about the actual lesson. So, hey, I see someone just said hello. Lucia! All right, let me put on my glasses real quick and say hello to some folks. And Mom. Of course Mom is there. Hey, Lucia, how you doing? Hey, Mom, how's it going? I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's feeling good. I know this has been a crazy time, a big adjustment period, especially for my young students that are, now going to school online. There's talk about the school being shut down for the rest of the year, and then they tried to retract that, but I think that's probably what's going to happen. And everybody's learning how to function in this new environment, so I know it's a little crazy. So I am going to jump right in a moment and go through this little lesson, and I think it's going to be super fun. So, and this you can kind of follow along. I'm going to do some preliminary exercises, and this is what we're going to do. And I suppose I could have put this up in a split screen. However, I didn't do that, although I might be able to pull that off right now. Let's jump in, and then we'll see. All right, so here's the deal. Five-stroke roll. Come on, who knows it? Five-stroke roll, tell me. All right. So five-stroke rolls are, let's say, one of the shortest rolls of all of our rudiments, right? And what's great with the five-stroke roll is it's really a great way to just punctuate another note, right? It's almost works, in my mind, almost like a drag or a flam, right? It can be a really decorative little thing. Now, in traditional marching stuff or in, let's say, concert band music, it would be more of like that, like maybe a closed five-stroke roll, two buzzes and a single stroke. But we're not going to be using it that way. We're going to be using it on the drum set tonight, more in that kind of context. So just for instance, the first one that I wrote is just playing a five-stroke roll before the and of one. So it would go like, we played on the downbeat of one. One and, right? So if we were to play a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and pretty simple, right? And right away, if you put that in a groove, what are we doing? Right? Really simple. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So we have our 5-stroke roll on the hi-hat on the downbeat. Okay, so that's one simple use of it, right? Now, let's move it over to the beat 2 of the bar, and we're going to play it on beat 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and. Now, so if we did this, let's put it on the hi-hat, and I'm not going to split it right now. We're going to do it on beat 2. So we'll do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So now we put it on the 2 and, right? So I kind of shifted the snare to give us a little funky kind of feel to it. But that works really well. Again, just simple 5-stroke roll. Right, right, left, left, right. Or left, left, right, right, left. Okay, now we'll move it to the 3rd beat. So we're going through a very simple grid right now. Of course, we're going to move it into all the different positions of the bar. But let's just try it right here. So now on 3 and, it's going to work much like the 1 end, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So if we play that just on the snare, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? Very simple little spot for that. Let me put on a metronome. Here, so what if we were to do 80 beats per minute? 1, 2, I don't know if that's too loud. Let me know if the metronome's too loud. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, oh, so we're doing this on beat 3, sorry. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, now we're going to move it over to beat 4. I'll leave the metronome running. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. All right, so that's on the first 4 examples are just playing it on beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4, okay? Not the most exciting thing, but it's very functional. It works really well. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1. So that's the 4 different positions that we just did. Now, moving forward, we're going to put it on the and of 1. So very simply, and you've all done this before, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So now it's on the and of 1. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm putting that on the and. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so on the and of 1. Let's move it over to the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 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 1. Nice and simple. And of 3. Now we're going to move it to the end of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so far pretty simple to follow, yes? So all the downbeats, we did beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. Now we played it on the and of 1, and of 2, and of 3, and of 4. So I mean, you with just those two, you could sort of improvise. Oh, and by the way, it doesn't have to be a slow, funky thing for this stuff. I mean, if you were playing, what if you were playing something like up-tempo kind of dance tune? Man, I wish I had a track ready for this. What if you were playing like right? So it would work in that kind of instance. It would work real well for, you know, the funk thing that we did. It would work really well for maybe a medium tempo rock. Dude, got, dude, got, dude, got. 1, 2, 3. Right, so it could work in that type of tempo, the up-tempo dance thing, a slow, funky thing. It's very versatile to use the 5 in this way. Okay, so let's take a real quick peek at, and I was good enough to get all of my, I know I make this mistake all the time, but I have my phone silenced. I shut off alerts on that group text that I always wind up in, and do not disturb is on, and airplane mode is on. Finally, I'm getting my act together. All right, so let's keep moving forward. So we're going to go to the next position. So far, ones and ands, real simple. And again, this PDF will be up on the in the description. I think it's already in there. So now we're going to put it on the E of the bar, the 5-stroke roll. So it lands on the E. What I like about this one, 1 E and 1 E and So like if I just, let me put in silence on the 1, and I'll use my hi-hat foot, not silence. I'll use the hi-hat foot. I will take it out of the equation here. 3 and 4 and... So what I'm doing with that is replacing the 1. I could go, then one could argue that it's almost a 6-stroke roll. So I'm putting in the hi-hat foot. So So what if I put that into a groove? So maybe like, right? So at that tempo, at 80 beats per minute, it's pretty nice. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? So that's kind of nice. I really like the feel of that one. So that's on the E of 1. Now what if we put it on 2, 1 and 2 E and 1 and 2 E and right? So that would be 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 N. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the hi-hat in place of the snare. So we get 1 and 2 E and 3. Oh, let me put on the metronome. We'll do it here. 2, 3, 4. All right, so this is going to be on beat 2. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 E. So you can put in the 2. It's just going to sound more like a 6. Watch. But if we put in that little space, you really feel the 5. 4, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Right, so let's put that in back into the groove. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do is, because I want to hit the snare, I'm just going to talk about my strategy with this. So I was kind of forgetting this, but because I'm hitting the snare on 2, I'm going to hit an opening on the end of that 5-stroke roll. So 1 and 2. And I'm going to play just my foot on beat 3. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Okay, so watch this. 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 1 and 2. And 2. Okay, so that's on the E of 2. Then we move it to the E of 3. The E of 3 is going to be much like the E of 1, right? 1, 2, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, actually I'll put it on the snare. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Right, so now I'm looking at the wrong one, aren't I? Yes, I am. We're going to put it on the E of 3. I apologize. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Right? Ready? Go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Move that to the drum set. So those substitutions that I'm doing, it's just a matter of learning to set it up for the drum set. So I'm putting that on beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 3 E and 4 and, right? So we did 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We did the and of 2, I mean the E of 2. 1 and 2 E and, 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3. So my strategy, I keep forgetting on the hitting the second beat, 2 E and then we're using the hi-hat after that. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and. I put the hi-hat foot on beat 3 because I'm doing an opening right before that. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4. And then the last one that we have is on beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and again I'm doing that and 1 and 2, and we can do and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 3 and 4 E and right? So that's the E and a position for the 5-stroke roll. And so we're just moving this 5-stroke roll about on the drums. And so let's just see. So if we were going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's playing it on the 4. It'll work the same on the 2. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and then we have the 1 E and 2, 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4. And then we have the third beat, 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 E and 4 and 1, 2, 3 E and 4. Okay, so that's the next position. So we did downbeats, we did upbeats, and now we're putting it on the E. Okay, so now we're going to move it over, and we're going to go to the ands. Now, so, no, we did the ands already. We're moving over to the us. Sorry, so we're going to the us. So now, if we were to play this on, let's say, the of 1. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and, right? So we've moved it over. And 4 and 1. Okay, so that's on the of 1. 3 and 4 and. Okay, so the strategy for this one is a little bit different. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4. So I'm playing, I'm going to do a substitution on the and of 1. So 1 and 2 E and 1. 1 and 1, 3 and 4 and 1, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 E N. So that I'm kind of putting in the the 5 is just here. That's my 5, and then I'm putting in a backbeat down here. I kind of like that placement for it. Okay, so that's kind of a cool placement for it. All right, so with the metronome, 2 and 3 and 4 and... Winds up being a little bit of a linear kind of thing, right, with all that. But I like that one a lot. It's kind of a cool little funk groove. Again, it's in the sheets. So now we're going to move that over, and we're going to move it to the of 2. So if we were playing just the snare drum part, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so now it's on the of 2, and so I put that into a groove. And the strategy for this one, before I dive in, 1 and 2 and we're going to use that foot as a plant, and 3 E and 4 and. So I'm putting it after the end of 2, using the hi-hat foot as a launching pad, or you can use a bass drum even. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I reverse that. I put a bass drum on the end. 1 and 2 and 3 and then we're going to hit the 4 with the snare, but we have the and with the foot. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'll use the bass drum on the end of 2. I keep forgetting that. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 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 1 and 2. So now that 5-stroke roll, and that's just a nice little sounding short roll with a little bark. So, there's really a lot of little placements that you could come up with for that. Right, so you can get creative with it, experiment, put it on different surfaces, have fun with it. Okay, so let's keep moving. So now we put it on the of 1, the of 2. Let's put it on the of 3, which is very much like the of 1. 1 and 2 and 3. So we're going to do the and with the hi-hat foot. 1 and 2 and 3 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and I'm going to hit a snare on the end of 4. So I'm getting this little, again, I have that little bark. Right? I like that. I don't know. I think it's fun. So yeah, so that groove. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So again, you know, practice these guys, you know, in the little stickings that I wrote out, the little rhythms that I wrote out, and then take it to the drum set and just get creative with it. So it's just a matter of this. If you can understand where to put a 5-stroke roll, if you can understand how to move it on the grid, I mean, and it's sort of then, you know, basically this little idea can help you to come up with some really, really cool stuff on the drum kit that sounds creative and that isn't, you know, typical sounding, right? Like these placements, putting it on the E's and the U's. So you can even just practice playing, you know, just a 5-stroke roll. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Then we moved it before to the and. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Then you move it to the E. 1 E and 2, 3, 4. 1 E and. So it's 1 E and. 1. I'm sorry. We're moving it to the E, so it's 1 E and right? 3, 4. 1 E and 3, 4. 1 E and 2, 3, 4. 1 E and 2. I'll do that slower just so you can hear my count. 1 E and 2, 3, 4, and 1 E and 2, 3, 4. 1 E and 2, 3, 4, and 1 E and 2, 3, 4. Then we can put it to the 1, 1, 2. So it's 2 E, 2 E, 2 E, 2 E, 1, 2 E, and 3, 4, 1, 2 E. Let me put that with a click. And what we could do is this. Check this out. You could practice this with an 1/8 note pulse. And 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 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 Right? So we can put it on the So we have all these little placements for it, and if we keep moving it on the grid, we can get creative with it on the drum set. Right, so it's sort of a fun thing to work on. I have one more little position. This wound up on the of 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3. So it goes 1 E and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 3 and 4. So that one's over the bar line because it's coming in on 4 and 1 E and 2. So if I'm playing 1/8 notes, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? So it's going to be 4 and 1 E and 2 and. So that placement, I'm doing again that plant with the foot. 4 and 1 E and, right? And I'm using that opening with the foot on the end of 1. So it's 4 and, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So again, interesting syncopated little place to drop that in. Another idea for the drum set. And then I did a little syncopated one. Let me see what I wrote here. This was a little while ago today. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, right? So that's funky. It's kind of a cool placement. We're putting it on the back end of it. And then I was just going to talk about a couple little ideas off the top of my head that that I use. So sort of leaning towards fills. So splitting things with the tom. So that one, and again, I use that foot plant that I call it, right? It's like planting the foot on the downbeat. Right? So these little ideas, I mean, they're not that difficult. And I'm just really using that 5-stroke roll. And I'm answering with my backbeat. There's my 5. And then I answer with that snare. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1, 2, 3 E and 4. You could put that to a real low tom if you want to get something a little beefier. Right, so I like that placement a lot. What did I play there? So I just shifted it 3 times. So I did 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4 E and And each time you notice I just did that little foot plant. 1 E and 2. So again, you know, it's practicing just your 5-stroke roll, and then we're kind of shifting it. We're just playing with the time. It's not anything new. It's not a new rudiment. We all know it. We all love it. So as far as all this stuff goes, I know there's not a whole lot of people in here tonight, but any questions on any of this stuff, I'll answer it. You know, why do I use them? It's just a little bit of embellishment. It's sort of fun. It's just to kind of put a little spin on an old rudiment. But but I think it sounds good and it feels good. I don't use anything unless I think it's going to feel good in context. So, you know, if I'm doing this, it's not trying to be fancy for the sake of being fancy. It feels good in the song, and maybe it helps embellish something. And of course, you can't use this stuff, overuse this stuff, right? You don't want to just fill it up with that. It's not going to sound very good, but it's just a fun idea. So definitely play around with the PDF, see what you think. Hey, Rocco, how you doing, man? Glad you're in there. So, you know, good little lesson. Download it, practice it, and it kind of ties into the hand technique workshop stuff. And, you know, I was going to split tonight with 2 different topics, but I figured I'd stay on this and kind of really explain it, because I feel like I kind of jammed too much material in each time. So this was nice. We just did a very short segment, and it took up the 45 minutes. I'm now streaming at the 8 o'clock hour. I'm going to probably keep it here instead of 8:30 because I feel like it's a little better slot. Any questions, let me know. If you like this video, put it in the comments. And let me just type, thanks for watching. The chat did work tonight, which is great. I'm still working by myself, obviously. I got this cool little remote called the Elgato Stream Deck that I don't have a long enough cord to use, but it's all push button for doing what I do, which is awesome. I have this cool little remote to do the live streams. But, all right, so we're at that time. If there's no questions, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come in on Thursday night for the hand technique workshop. We're going to continue with that, building on that idea. I hope I didn't babble too much tonight. And Bob Sears, what's up, buddy? Glad you're here, man. Good to see you. I hope that was, you know, somewhat useful to you guys and helpful. And, you know, that's it for tonight. So come see it again. I really appreciate it. I'm signing off. Mom, I'll give you a call later. Glad Mom is in there. And I'm going to roll the titles if I could find them. Again, I'm working by myself, so I don't know. All right, closing titles. I think I got it. All right, guys, signing off. Great to see you. Thank you.